people in need. Mr. Martin Howley has kindly donated himself to this cause, and we really admire him for all the work he does. So we hope you're going to have a great evening here. If you've just arrived, we are the Western Suntones, as in Western Australia and Suntones. We've got music out on Spotify. You can find us on the internet at thewesternsuntones.com.au. But we're here to help people in need. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you for supporting Martin Howley and his attempt to help make the world a better place. Big hand for Martin. Thank you for having us, Martin.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks very much for coming. So this is our second night. The last night we have a lovely room here of 60 people. Okay, the main reason why I decided to do something like this, because of all the work we all, some of us did and I did in part last year, for financial reasons just couldn't go and carry on and keep it up this year. I had to go back to work and had to earn some money, and with everybody, a lot of people still ringing me up and wanting help. It just wasn't possible. So it's still people struggling and people ringing me up for help, and unfortunate mental help, and sadly people taking their own lives and committing suicide. I thought it would be a good idea if we put something on like this. Like-minded people would turn up and we get a bit of music, have a good time, and after the reason for the $25, just letting you know.
I'll finish by tomorrow morning, don't worry.
The band has to be paid for, and they're generously not charging so much tonight because of the reason behind the event. The Irish Club has to be supported, so after that coming into some money, which has been in profit, I decided we'll give it back to the audience, the people in the audience I'm going to pick later on who I know and trust, and we'll pay the money forward. Now last time, thanks to Jacqueline down there, who knows so many people suffering in this city, we give $500 back to people in need, meaning the homeless, 2 separate places, one in Bayswater and one in Subiaco. Now there's nobody like that here tonight, so I decided, not knowing, even knowing how many people are going to turn up, I went shopping today, as you can see here on the table on my right. Spent a bit of money not knowing how many people are going to turn up. And by the end of the night, there's about 15 bags there full of food.
It's been very ecumenical.
Some people are going to get, and hopefully tomorrow you're going to take a visit to someone and play it forward. And that is with your money. So I'm not keeping your money that you pay tonight. It's paying for the expenses and it's paying it forward back to someone in need that you know. And, you know, people need help out there. People are like, I don't know, I'm sure you're hearing stories already. I was told this week, 3 bus drivers commit suicide, 2 construction workers who my friend knows commit suicide. Beside what we've been fighting the last 3 years, unfortunately now we're dealing with people struggling with a home to live in, buy food, get a job. So they're feeling worthless, you know, so the nearest best thing to do, because they are feeling worthless and they're unfortunately taking their own lives. I'm a Myself, I am a suicide survivor. It's 30 years ago now, I tried to take my own life. And it's not just a one time, so I do know what these people are going through privately, and it's not a very happy time. Some of you may know I've got a cancer background, losing loved ones. So I do also know what it's like to go shopping for a coffin. I've personally bought 2 of them myself. And I can tell you, up to $10,000, you don't get much change. By the time you go through the whole rigmarole of suffering and sadly putting your loved one to rest. So I came up with this idea with my good friend at the back there, and I think I would like to come in. My good friend at the back there is taking his time to manage the door for me. Neil Roberts, this man has been all over for me the last 2 years. Giving up his time, giving up his energy, giving up his money, and I think he should be commended. With a lot of you here as well, there's a long list of us. We're all trying to do our bit, especially for our next generation and the poor children. So the last night we were here, I had this man come to me and he wanted to speak, asked me could he speak, but the night was nearly done. So I promised him if we had another event he could speak. Unfortunately and thankfully his subject is my subject, which is cancer. So would you please give a round of applause for Paul Nield, please. Come on, Paul.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming, and thank the committee for inviting me to talk about saving your great-grandchildren. My view is that if we look after the great-grandchildren, we look after everyone. I have no medical qualifications at all. That's why I wrote this bloody thing out, because Martin couldn't spell bloody whistleblower. That's all I am, a whistleblower. I've got no medical qualifications whatsoever. Anyway, now the whistleblowing, much of the cancers today are directly connected to government negligence, and that's a fact. The bulk of which is the health department, obviously, and the environment departments. We have, I believe, the highest per capita child leukemia in the nation right here in Perth, and nothing's done about it. Breast cancer is rife. Prostate is said to be overtaken now. Government is predicting a 35% increase in cancers in the next decade. Now the negligence, it's criminal negligence by the departments. I concentrate on 3 illnesses: it's child leukemia, breast and prostate cancers. They have common carcinogens that impact you daily and you don't know it. So isn't it feasible to eliminate the carcinogens and lower the criminal negligence that is impacting upon our boobs and our babies? I concentrate on deodorant and chlorpyrifos, and they're readily identifiable in many of the people succumbing today, oil. There are heaps more carcinogens and there are heaps more cancers. The reason I concentrate on so few is that we have irrefutable evidence that the government departments have been dishonest and or negligent about these carcinogens under oath, and there's Parliament Hansard transcript to prove it. I'm trying to give you the guidelines where you can investigate this yourself, but I have a website that I can refer you to. There's a heap of crap, but I'm trying to make it better. The bureaucrats are causing terrific impact upon your babies, and I'm trying to wake you up to this, and because it affects everyone. But how many of you are aware that there's a natural cure for breast cancer? Any of you? Other than radiation, chemotherapy and anything? Do you know?
Early detection.
Who?
Early detection is the cure for all cancers.
I can't quite hear you, but I'll carry on. It's, what I'm referring to is bee sting. This is bee venom. It's free from nature. And it's got a 100% success rate in curing breast cancer tumours. But currently we're losing about 12 to 1,500 females per annum to breast cancer. But this cure for breast cancer was discovered at the University of WA. It's Dr. Caitlin Duffy, and she's had a 100% success rate. So the government or some authority, whether it's the health department or the university, they've quashed it. They've said we can duplicate this chemically. Well, to do that, it's big money for Big Pharma, but Big Pharma can't duplicate, it can't patent nature's gift, bee sting. Whether Big Pharma will reward the politicians or what, I don't know. But if you give it to Big Pharma to duplicate chemically, and hopefully they won't try and get it as good as nature's given you for free, it may take 7 years, and if we're losing 1,500 bloody women a year, that's about 10,000 women we want to lose in the meantime. But bee venom is a cure, so surely it ought to be an option, not just for the 1,500 who are going to cough it this year, but we should be making it available, freedom of choice, for women with newly diagnosed. I don't know if there's 10 or 20,000 a year, but if you nip it in the bud when it's discovered, surely that's better than the years of chemotherapy. Now for the blokes, prostate cancer is overtaken breast cancer. Well, bee sting is known to have cured that, what's being done. The worst bit I left to the last, child leukemia. Like I say, Perth, Western Australia is, I believe, the capital of child leukemia in the nation. We've the highest per capita and no one's doing nothing. Well, bee sting, it seems, can also help with leukemia. Now, I'd come to say how these carcinogens may be impacting on you, and I can't possibly list them all, but foods, any meat or vegetable that's been nurtured on contaminated land, obviously. And if you can remember from tonight, if you look up potato paddocks, Pemberton sheep and Nield, if you can remember that. Just look it up yourselves. There's a number of these government scams or sites or whatever you call it, advising of sheep with way over the levels of dieldrin. They had high concentrations in their wool, in their hooves, in their meat. Okay? And they're being sold. Now, the government plans to have put sheep from contaminated pastures upon clean pastures and halved or decimated the high levels of dieldrin within the sheep or the sheep. Now, it's bollocks. But true, you can take pregnant ewes from a contaminated paddock, put them on a clean paddock. They can then discard a level of dieldrin, like human mums with discarding carcinogens into their babies. The shoes can discard into the lands within the womb. And also with the milk, like human milk carries carcinogens to your baby. And it's the same with ewes. So, the government claims that they've done the same with wethers. Well, it's absolute bollocks. It's bullshit. But it's there. And please note, if you look up these government scam sites, they refer to how afraid they are about the impact on beef and lamb export. They don't say nothing about your boobs and your babies. Now, when the lamb ewes give birth, they just have, like say, the deodorant into the lambs, and the lambs are drinking milk. But the government departments, when they did these scans, they never tested the lambs because the lambs should have been born free of custard. They weren't, and they're sold. But the area of negligence within the government is colossal. And if you think an anti-COVID, if the health department had no credibility about what I'm talking about, the thousands dying annually, they've got no credibility to advise the politicians to enforce drug injections on the rest of us. But that's another matter. Now, the government claims there's hundreds of these farms within the south of West Australia. Hundreds. But the government not only advised those farms, or the farmers of the day, to use these carcinogens, they were potato pellets, but they allowed the potatoes to be sold to you or your great-grandmother or whoever's got the carcinogen to you, because it crosses generations. But then when the bureaucrats actually realised what tremendous bollocks they'd made of it, they deemed that the properties couldn't be used again for food production, but what they seem to have forgot to do is they didn't put memorials or caveats upon the certificates of title for the property. So the new farmers came in, they see a bunch of bloody cockoo up to their elbows and breed cattle and sheep to sell to you. It's a hell of a problem, and the government is not just the lambs or the sheep and the beef, but it's chickens, ducks, eggs, vegetables, beef, the whole lot. So another way you can be impacted upon is, as I've said, from your own mum, your grandmother, or indeed your grandmother. Another area of contamination, I've seen a lot of you probably too young to remember, but up to the 90s, the insurance companies used to insist upon regular spraying for termites in your residential buildings, in your workshop, in your workplace commercial buildings, in your schools, if you wanted to insure the buildings. If you can't remember, ask your grandparents. That's irrefutable. The children that are born today can develop that leukemia, or the females developing breast cancer. They could have been impacted from that era of spraying all the buildings. Now, likewise, buildings being demolished today, they likely have a number of these or similar carcinogens which can not only be exposed with the demolition, but with the bad or non-existent policing of the potential contaminants disposed of to who knows where, if it goes to landfill, it leaks to the aquifer, to the waterway, to everywhere. But, or it goes to soil recyclers, and you buy bloody raw soil to recycle your organic garden, and you don't know where the hell it's come from. But I attended a parliamentary inquiry into this. It was negligent, to say the least. The bureaucrats spent literally hours advising a bunch of politicians of the need to allow a corrupt or negligent site to be allowed to not comply with that very department's licence conditions, but also to pollute contrary to the department's licence conditions again. Now, the Department of Environment Assistant Director Dr. John Ottaway gas-bagged on about being able to drink levels of pollutant for 70 years with perhaps little effect, well, as cobblers. Again, the truth is that such amounts could impact far quicker. Ashkenazi Jewish females, for instance, are far more susceptible to breast cancer than, say, Asian or Caucasian females. That's a fact. The lawyer Ottaway failed to advise the Parliament clients to consider the bioaccumulative impacts when the same unfortunates may be drinking his specified allowable amount of pollutants. He didn't advise the MPs about if you bioaccumulate what comes from your mums or grandmothers or grandparents, or the beef and vegetables, whatever you're eating, is a doubling up and bioaccumulating. Now, there's no way that the DWER or the Health Department can deny that the likelihood of them being complicit in the current spate of illnesses, or the deaths today, or for the past 2 decades, or for the next 3. That's fact. The government has some considerable liability, but I'm quite sure that they allow this genocide or this Holocaust to continue because of money value, not decency value. It's a hell of a mess because of the third generational impacts. It's a hard one to start to administer an answer to the problems, and they're immense. Prevention is better than cure. We have to have a Royal Commission. We need to petition either the federal government, or I think we should petition the House of Lords or House of Commons. So that's my spiel for the night. I'll take questions if any of you want to come and ask me. But save the children, and then you'll save everyone.
Thanks very much, Paul. A bit more info there about that bloody cancer. So now I'm going to welcome up the lovely Jacqueline Hope, all about Health Alliance in Perth. This woman does tremendous work, as you can see. She's not a spring chicken, but she never gives up. She's down visiting the homeless at Moore Street at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Help her out, she'll go on strong. Good on you, Jacqueline.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for letting me speak to you on this subject. Can we please give Martin a round of applause? So I do know that some of you know about the People's Health Alliance, so can I have a quick show of hands who've heard of it? Thank you. So this organisation, the People's Health Alliance, it's health for the people, by the people. It's an organic, people-led, integrated health initiative that aims to educate, support and empower the people to take responsibility for our own health. An integrated approach to health, utilising allopathic and holistic treatments, the wisdom of nature and rediscovering traditional medicine. We want prevention rather than treatment. And we're shifting the paradigm from treating disease to creating health. Thank you. I'm not in, right. And we want you to take self-responsibility for our own health and having the freedom to choose the health path that's right for us. So that is the cornerstone of what PHA is about. But I wanted you to know this little story. The anthropologist Margaret Mead was asked, when do you think that consciousness came into being with humans, the first humans? And she said, when we found a skeleton that had a repaired femur We knew that somebody must have nurtured that person and let them heal, because if if an animal breaks a leg, a predator's going to eat it very quickly because it can't run away. So we have been sold the lie from Darwin that the survival of the species is the survival of the strongest and the fittest, and that isn't true. The reason that we have survived as long as we have is through cooperation and community, and that's what we need to go back to. So are you satisfied with the healthcare system you have at the moment? No. Hell no. Obviously, the pharmaceutical cabal have literally taken health and squeezed us. It's a really bad model if I give you a pill to get you better and you never come back. So that's why they do not want us healthy. And so what this organisation started in England, because as you're aware, people who are British or from British heritage, that the National Health Service has been completely and utterly destroyed deliberately. It's taken them about 20 years, because what they want is what we've got here in Australia and definitely in America, a two-tier system where you pay for the public health through your purse and taxes, and it's substandard, it's not, you don't have the best equipment, it's not staffed well, and then you also pay for private medicine through your insurances. And now what happens is when you go into hospital, you've paid twice for healthcare. When you go into hospital, there's always a gap. So they're getting you at every single level. So Catherine McBean, who set this up in England, said, we are not going to try and fix this broken, corrupt system. We're going to set up our own health service, health for the people, by the people. And so how do we do this? We will help you to set up hubs. So what we're asking practitioners, whether you're a nurse, you're a doctor, a midwife, if you've got a qualification, you do not need to be with APRA. You come and join on the practitioners register here with us at PHA. And if you would like to volunteer with us, then you join the volunteers database. And then what will happen is the practitioners, we will show you how to do health hubs. We're not going to do it for you. We've gone past that era where I give you my body and you tell me what I'm going to do with it. We must take responsibility for ourselves. So because this literally is a grass-led group of people, it's only had its first birthday in the UK in April. It's now gone to 32 countries in the world. It's just made it to Portugal, apparently. And it's an idea whose time has come. So here's an idea of a hub. You might hire a local community hall. 4 or 5 practitioners would then be there. They'll be there for a month, and people will come in. A nurse might take your blood pressure. I was a midwife for 38 years in 4 countries in the world, and for my sins, I'm the Australian ambassador for at PHA. I'm also the PR and media person because I can talk, but I'm not good at IT, so if there's any young people out there, come and join and help us. I'm also the volunteer support group, and so this means that what we are going to do, every one of us here, when your youngest grandchild is standing at my age, I want People's Health Authority and Alliance to be the normal way of getting health. Because only when we make this happen will it happen. So please, one of the things we're starting to do now is take in donations, and I would like to raise $120 to buy a Sonicate box so you can actually hear the baby's heartbeat. So when we're asking women, come in and have a free antenatal checkup, I know that any vibration going through the body is not really good for that baby, yeah? But the reason women go to their GP and their private consultant is because they want to hear the heartbeat. So because of my years of experience, I can listen to 10 beats, de-dum, 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 and I know it's within normal range. And while that woman's there, we can now start, you've come in for your blood pressure check, whatever you've come in for, we can start asking you questions, and we can actually do mind, body, spirit because as Martin pointed out, this last 3 years has been mentally destructive for everybody. We've lost family members, we've lost friends, we've lost our community because we chose to stand firm and say no to the toxins. Slowly dribbling out. We all sitting here know how bad the adverse reactions to the vaccine has been. It still isn't making it to Channel 10, SBS, ABC. But once people realise what's happened to their family members, we're going to have a lot of mental illness. And we cannot afford to say, well, serves you right. We have to have compassion. We have to be able to say, okay, that was the decision you made for whatever reason, but now let's help you. So with everybody's help here, please take a leaflet, come and join us and make this happen. Thank you.
Legend.
But I'd like to say, it takes you to the website.
I've actually got one of your leaflets on the table there, so I'll pass it around, Jacqueline, and please God, everybody get out their mobile phones and take a picture of it. Also, as you'll see there on your tables, outside my own job as a carpenter every day of the week, many years ago, I became a life coach to changing my life myself and from my depression and my suicide 10 many years ago. So what I did a few weeks ago, I put those copies together, Macy Construction, Beyond Blue, the helpline numbers on there, a couple of my videos I have there on YouTube of the law of attraction. And please get your phones out, please take pictures of those and pay it forward, pass it on to people and, it'll do something good too. So I have got some leaflets there on the table, I've got some more leaflets, so if you just bear with me, bear with the guys, they're just finishing their bite to eat and they'll be up in the 5. Thanks very much. Okay, have I got it? Yeah, all right. So Stuart is there. He's standing up with the teacher on him. Please help out, make an effort. We see you. We wake up more bloody sheep. All right. All right. Thank you.
Well, I see
Big one, Dick.
Thanks very much, guys. Great singing song there. Unfortunately, no Irish song there, but we'll have to get over it before that's out. Right, now our next speaker. I sent him a message a few weeks ago called I beat the fear and do it anyway because this man's very important and I wasn't sure when I get a reply. It's so important. And to my surprise, a couple of days later, oh behold, Augusto replied, brilliant. And he offered to come. So Augusto Zimmermann, Professor Augusto Zimmermann, everybody. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you very much.
I don't know if I will have the courage to use my papers. I took the chance this afternoon to write just about 50 pages. And it will take only about 2 hours to complete my task. I'm kidding, by the way. You know, I'm giving up of this. There's so much to be said about this issue of suicide and connections with the family law system. I can say that I have some experience with that as a law reform commissioner. Apart from being, thank you very much. Everybody can listen? Can you hear? All right, so I was for about 5 years a law reform commissioner, serving the Law Reform Commission of Western Australia, and also an associate dean for research. But the funny thing is that I was not supposed, that is when I was at Murdoch University. I had the chance to actually interact with people who are the victims of a very despicable system, if I can say. Now I have become a bit of an outsider, and then I have the courage to actually denounce the elites here. There is no doubt that the system is done to destroy people's lives. When I was writing the report on domestic violence restraining orders, my interactions with the oligarchs it was very compelling in terms of revealing the truth of the matter. I remember that I was very concerned about people using or milking the system as an instrument to basically destroy people's lives. And I have seen people committing suicide after even participating in some of the debates I had as a commissioner. I hope that I have saved some lives, because I remember that one person gave me a call out of the blue about 5 years ago, complaining that he had been completely alienated from his children. And then he was being forced to pay full child support. And I have actually, in my articles, revealed the link between financial profit and false accusations of domestic violence. I think people should have to bear in mind that sometimes people who actually make these allegations are not the victims. They can actually be the culprits, actually. I know to be a matter of fact that some people have actually lost basically everything, including access to kids and property and everything else, only on the basis of an accusation. And then some of these people had to leave the country, and this guy called me from Canada saying that he couldn't continue to pay the child support because the calculation was wrong, and he was actually paying his whole salary into this thing, and he couldn't survive here anymore. But then the Australian government contacted the Canadian government, and he was now being bullied and forced to pay such an amount to the person who had basically destroyed his life. And another case is of a lady who used to live, I think, in Sydney, who one day decided to, she came back from work and expecting to have a normal night with her husband, and the police was waiting for her. The police was waiting for her, and she was served with a restraining order. And the point with this lady is that she got really distressed for obvious reasons, And that was interpreted by the police as a sign that she was mentally unstable. And the restraining order became a permanent one. To just explain what happened to her, she lost access to the kids, she could not go back to her own house, and she committed suicide. So this is just a couple of examples that I can give to you. And I believe that, as a matter of fact, the elites know that, because as a commissioner I used to interact with the political class and say, look, these are examples of people who have basically lost everything. They don't see their kids for 10 years, 15 years. What you guys are going to do about this? And the answer was nothing. And not only that, they told me to be quiet because it was the sin of, sorry, I have this terrible thing in my past. Once upon a time I was the vice president of the Liberal Party in the division. And I was appointed, not by merit. I was appointed because in this country, people are appointed because they know someone. They know someone, if the person is connected with the party, they appointed him. That's the same thing about the appointment of judges, by the way. So the system is completely broken. And not only that, it's destroying people's lives. And it's time for us to actually wake up and to do something about this. I have tried to do everything I can. People tell me, go to politics. No, I keep my second passport very close to me. I cannot be a politician in this country, but I have tried to mentor people. Now I'm working at Sheridan and I teach foundations of constitutional law. And my whole goal is to equip an army of people who will fight for individual rights and freedoms and the rule of law. The problem in this nation is worship of government. And that many people tend to think that government is the solution. Government is the problem. You have to be free. And I promise you that I continue to do my work to be telling people about this. Because, you know, my interactions with the despicable ruling classes in this nation tells me that they actually do not wish your well-being. They talk about things that are about reduction of the population. They talk about, you know, euthanasia or abortion on demand. It's all about killing people. So if you actually believe that, you know, this thing that they gave to you to save your lives, you really believe that, you are really a fool. As a matter of fact, they do not wish you well. And they want to destroy you. And I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to be quiet. I'm going to talk about this as long as it takes, with God, this is going to be solved. I'll tell you one thing. The system is so broken that it's time to actually get rid of it. I do not think that actually the family law system can be fixed. I believe in contract. And marriage is now a very weak one. It's very easy for a person to leave a spouse and take everything with him or her, including the children, including everything. It is deliberate, because of course, if you destroy the family unit, it's you alone and the state. They want to isolate you. That's why they have lockdowns and this sort of things. And if you try to speak out, this retarded prime minister that you have here started to say that you have to grow a brain. You grow a brain? That's how he talks about you. He's a fascist. And we have to speak out about this. McGowan is a dictator. Because only dictators tell people that they have to grow a brain, that they are drop kicks. I wish he could tell this in front of me. I would teach him a lesson. But I'll tell you one thing, you know, it's good because he is actually telling and revealing who he really is. It's time for you to resist. It's time for you to fight. And if you have gone through this, you have a moral duty to not allow your enemies to prevail. Amen. You have to resist. And to be engaged in this fight for freedom for your kids. The future generations depend on you. The future, your children, one day, you know who you are, and they'll be grateful for you, for what you have not done for them only, but for the nation. The nation needs help. The nation needs to wake up. And I believe that God is going to work on this. And I believe that one day you'll be a free country, where people can actually have a normal family without the interference of government on everything. What they want is to divide you, to divide and conquer, because that's the ancient Roman strategy. They want to turn you and divide you into ethnic lines, gender lines, turn women against men, men against women, aborigines against white people against whatever. It's always like that, because then we are divided. Now, for those who have already paid a very heavy price, it's your duty to not allow your enemies to defeat you. Never dare to give up. Never dare to do the wrong things and commit suicide. Do you know what? Because this is cowardly. And you need to be bold and courageous. Yes. And fight. If that has happened to you, it's another reason to be bold and courageous and teach these people a lesson. We are going to do a revolution in this country, and the revolution, who knows, starts now. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Augusto. Very powerful speech as always, very passionate, and he knows what he's talking about. Now, before I invite the next lady up, she's, I have to say, there's another lovely lady who's going to speak tonight, and you all hopefully know about the Light paper, the Light Australian paper. There's a great lady called Dominique. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it tonight. Her father's over from England, unfortunately, not very well. But thankfully, a lovely lady has come to my attention here, a very passionate lady, and is going to say about...
Hello, I came up from Andrew and I've got no speech prepared. It was just that I was at a meeting of Rod Cullerton on Thursday night. I'm not a member or anything, he just had open house, he wasn't promoting his political party at all. He wanted to tell us that we were in serious trouble because our property rights are being handed over, we lose them on the August 1st. They'll be handed over to a group called COAG, who headquarter office is in Bonn, Germany, and it's part of the United Nations. They have an office in New South Wales now, and they run all our titles. Now, if you have a copy, just a copy of your title of your house, it is now useless, will be useless. And if you have an original copy, that is useless as well. You have to have the deeds that is going right back to the first owner to have a bit more security. However, every lot in Australia, you know how you have a lot number? Well, they're all registered at the UN. And we could lose our house and you could have a rental, migrants move in. So no wonder Albo is not worried about the 150 the immigrants housing situation. They're all moving in with us. But we got to stand up, and we haven't got much time, I know, but if you go on the GAT website and comments, and I've got the secretary, Rod's secretary's email address, I can give out to a few so you can make your own inquiry. He's got a petition. We got to work hard, and we got to wake up one of them asleep and tell them about this. They might become awake. People with mortgages are going to lose their house. And also, if you're renting, you've got to check with the owner if they've got the deeds, because if they haven't, they only got a copy, you could be out and an immigrant could be in. So this is really scary. But Rod says we have the rights, and we've got to gather thousands of people together to get up to Parliament House before then, the August the 1st, and we've got to walk into to Parliament, and they're not allowed to leave, those politicians, until they drop that bill. That's what we have to do. I am not familiar with the sheriffs and that group, because of just being in Mandurah. So I'm going to try and get to them so we can get something together. So people who got their emails addressed, try and keep in contact with them and Rod to see when a date can be done for this, our visit to the Parliament House, because apparently under the Constitution we have the rights. And also there is, if you go into events, there biodiversity policies coming in. From next year it will be illegal to grow tomatoes because you use too much water. And so, and that is Australian-wide, that includes the farmers, that means we'll be importing. But that means we could be getting one of John Kerry's, who's one of the elite corporates, whose wife owns Heinz, and all their tomatoes are getting injected with mRNA. So you got to learn how to be a sneaky leaky and grow some tomatoes so you can eat healthy. So it's just a warning, and everybody that is on the events guide, and everybody can attend the Parmelia at the Hilton to go to that new bill being introduced. And I haven't got the date because I've only just been to Rod Cullerton's meeting in very short notice, and so I haven't managed to be prepared. So I just wanted to tell you what's coming, and us, we have to stand up, but Rod says, with our freedom groups, we're too small. So he says, with this property, and with the farmers losing their rights, we got to tell someone who's asleep, and, you know, bring our families back together so we can stand together and get our houses back and what is ours. Otherwise, say goodbye. Okay, that's all I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, and may God bless you, and may God bless Pink Panther, because he's doing everything that God wanted and wants. Okay, thank you.
Good on you, Diane. Right, that's the speakers. The boys are coming up again to hear some music, so I think I'll just take this opportunity to thank you all for coming. I've got some more bags here I'll give round to people. I've got 2 more things I did personally myself. I got an email a few weeks ago to go to Telstra to be given a free gift. And it was a pair of headphones. I don't really need them, so I'm going to donate them. I got $200 worth of voucher from the bank the other day when you give up so many points in your credit card. So they gave me $200. I went to Coles and I bought $100 gift card for food and $100 for fuel. So, look, I did this with the best intentions, thinking to help people and get people in here tonight. And, you know, if there's 200 people who can fill this room, and I don't know why people find it such a world they have, you know, at $25, but people have to understand, these guys come up here and it's their best night to make some money. They very kindly reduced their price for tonight for what I explained to us all about. The Irish Club also has to have some money to do what they have to do. So, just to let you know, 200 people, and after expenses, it's $3,500. And my ambition was to fill this place, hopefully, and to hand the money back to you. I don't want it. I don't want the money. I'm not here to make money. But $3,500 to people that really struggle, I thought people would be grateful for, people make an effort. And this is just my personal opinion, don't take it the wrong way, but like if 1,500 people can go to a rally last weekend, I can't see how we can't get 200 people in this place. make a few $1,000s and give it back to our fellow human beings that are struggling, thinking they can't get $1 to buy a loaf of bread or stuff, or buy some food, and they think the next big thing, so nobody loves me, I can't make ends meet, and they just go and hang from a tree. Like, you think there's not ever going to be no shortage of food. I can tell you from who I know, farmers. There's farmers in countryside here in Australia hanging from trees, getting their guns and putting a bullet to their head. So don't think in the coming years there's going to be a shortage of food, because there is. Because you know the younger generation, they don't want to work. All they want to do is play with their iPhones and their laptops. They're not interested. So the countryside is shrinking, and we'll soon end up, God knows where we're going to get our food from. So, apologies for my rant, but I'm only trying to make an effort. And I don't know about doing another event, because this is like, I'm just over ambitious. I am impatient, because I just like to make an effort. And you've heard my bit of a story where I've come from. I've been through it all. I've bought coffins, so lots and lots of people that haven't bought a coffin, it's coming your way with all the BS. You all know what's going on. People have had themselves injected with poison. So you know what? You all know you're awake. I'm sure everybody in this room, that in the next few years they're all going to unfortunately keel over. You know, so anyway, that's why I made the effort tonight. See, could we make a difference for all our friends and family in need? And I went a bit over beyond my board today just to prove a point. So the boys will come up now, and thanks very much for coming.
Love you, Martin.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, on behalf of everybody, we want to say thank you, Martin.
Yeah.
What you've done is really very, very valuable and very important in bringing people together.
Yes.
And in creating a voice for those that are underfoot. And we really appreciate it, man. I really mean that. Please continue doing what you're doing, okay?
Yeah.
That's what this is about.
Yeah. How about
What
if
people
you
don't realize.
How about if you pray for him
Yeah.
in public?
What people don't realize is that we are going through one of the most important times in history. This is a ballot box. We are inside a vote. There's a being above us that is asking us to make a decision. What do we want? Do we want this guy who has been trying to destroy the human race?
Yeah.
Or do we want a future king who is righteous, who's going to run the world properly? Because the way this guy, Lucifer, has run the world is he has messed it up so badly and mismanaged it so badly.
Yeah.
There is a king coming, a powerful king. What people don't realize is that the DNA of human beings is being modified, it is being changed. That DNA makes you lose your dominion over the earth. If your DNA changes, you have no title deed ownership over the human world situation. But the Father in heaven has made a plan. He sent a representative of the human race, his own Son, birthed by a Holy Spirit, to walk this earth. He came in behind enemy lines in the most dangerous time in history, the Roman Empire, and got nailed to a cross. Because that blood, that sacrificial blood, bought us, ransomed us from Lucifer, so that we have a chance to get back to heaven. That is the truth. So tonight, I really want to implore all of you, if you are not saved and you're in a car accident this evening, you're gone. You're in the eternal lake of fire. You're on the judgment seat on the final night, the final great white throne room judgment. You'll stand before the Father and He'll say, what have you done? That you think you've done something of value? That you think you can get back to my holiness, my goodness? We can't. The reason Jesus Christ died on a cross is because His blood is the filter through which the Father sees us. We're not righteous. None of us are. Nothing that we do is of any value.
What about the downtrodden?
Even the downtrodden.
The downtrodden, the disciples.
Troll, trying to take me off the message. Here's the point. Jesus Christ is the only way. If you want to be saved, now's the time. Follow me in this prayer. It's a 20-second prayer, and you will transfer title deed away from Lucifer to Jesus Christ and have eternal life. Dear Father in heaven, repeat after me. Dear Father in heaven, please come into my life. I believe Jesus Christ died on a cross for my sins. From this moment forth, I declare my allegiance to you, and I bring the Holy Spirit into me. In the name of Jesus Christ. Hallelujah. Let it be so. If you've done that, you are saved. Because it is a title deed transfer. It's a title deed transfer. All that the Father wants in this world, the ballot box, the voting platform, this is why you got a life, to vote for Him or Lucifer to stay in the world. It's a title deed transfer. Once you've transferred your title deed away from Lucifer to Jesus Christ, you have eternal life. Blessings upon blessings. So that's all you did. If you did it tonight, you are saved. But if you didn't, you do not know when your time is up. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Martin, what you are doing is absolutely vital and important. Thank you for what you are doing. Keep at it. Keep at it. Provision is going to come your way. Dear Father, I want to pray for Martin this evening and every single one of these awake people. What they don't realize is that each and every one of these people are soldiers of the kingdom of Jesus Christ, and they don't even know it yet. Some do, but most don't. Guys, don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Okay? I lived in the world. 3 years ago when COVID started, I looked at the patents filled with 666s and Luciferace and Luciferine. Come on, guys. It's about casting a vote. What do you want? Lucifer or Jesus Christ? I know where I stand. Now it's your turn. Play your part well. In Jesus' mighty name. Hallelujah!
Hallelujah!